Hey, it's Aisha Cockburn from Epiphany Institute. Have you ever noticed that we're a society that is crazy about lists? Lists about anything, lists about everything. The 50 highest paid celebrities in Hollywood, the 10 worst places to live if you're single. I mean, there are lists about absolutely everything. And one of the questions that I get asked quite a bit in my work with entrepreneurs is, what are some of the best cities to live in if you're starting a business? So Forbes published a study last year, and they looked at the best and the worst places for business and professions. And the state that they named, based on, I think, 35 different criteria, but the state that they named as best for running a business was the state of Virginia. And in terms of career opportunities, the state of Arizona, which is where I live, made the top of the list. But before you go packing up your bags and deciding that you're going to go to where the opportunities are better, it got me to thinking about a list of my own. What does Epiphany Institute say about the worst state to live in? So here's Epiphany Institute's list of one. The worst state to live in for your business or your career. Drum roll, please. So, the worst state to live in is a state of fear. Think about this. Living in a state of fear. What does that look like when you live in the state of fear? Can you imagine living in a state where teachers are afraid to educate our children, or doctors are afraid to really thoroughly practice medicine and heal people because they're afraid of being criticized if they do it against the status quo? Can you imagine living in a state where at work people are literally cannibalizing each other because they feel that the only way to survive is to take out as many people as possible? Can you imagine living in a state where lawmakers can't even make decisions because they're too afraid that they're not going to make everybody happy, so they won't make the decisions that they feel are right? Oh, wait a minute. I just described the United States of America, didn't I? So when you're living in a state of fear, this is the problem. You can never truly realize your full potential because you're afraid. You're afraid of failure. You're afraid of looking stupid. You're afraid of what people are going to say, or you're afraid to succeed and that you can't keep up with the expectations that people are going to place on you when you get to that level. You're afraid that you're never good enough. You're afraid that somebody's going to find you out, that you really don't deserve that promotion or that role. I mean, it's just all kinds of irrational fears and thoughts tend to permeate our minds. That's what it looks like when we're living in a state of fear. It's utter, total chaos. And for many of you watching this, that is the state that you're living in right now. And so if that is you, I want to encourage you to pack your bags and get out right away. Well, how do you do that, Coach Aisha? I'm glad you asked. So I'm just going to give you three quick tips to help you to permanently move out of the state of fear. So tip number one, ask yourself, what's the worst that can happen? And when you do that, then plan for the risks, minimize them the best that you can. But understand this, if you are looking to live life above mediocrity, that's a place that is not risk-free. So there are going to be some chances that you're going to have to take. You're going to have to step out there, and you won't always have the data to perfectly support the decisions that you need to make. But you've got a decision to make. Are you going to do it? Or are you going to just live that mediocre life? Because that's the choice that most people make. Which choice will you make? Tip number two is to watch documentaries, read articles, read biographies about people that have overcome tremendous odds or achieved tremendous levels of success in their life. It doesn't matter what industry it's in. It could be in business and sports and entertainment, people that have overcome physical challenges or extreme poverty, whatever it is. But when you start to saturate your mind with those stories, it prepares you for the road that you may end up traveling, because it isn't going to be just a smoothly paved trip to the top. But as you see that there have been other people that have maybe faced the same obstacles that may be coming your way, you'll realize that you can survive it too. And tip number 3, and this is my favorite one because it's so much fun. Do something that scares you at least once a month. Now, it can be as adventurous as going skydiving, which is something that's on my bucket list, or it can be something as mild as going to a restaurant without reading the Yelp reviews. So, because some of us, and I'm guilty of this, if I'm going to a restaurant, I have to read the Yelp reviews first. So don't always have to have all the data. Just take a chance, make a decision. So whatever it is, it doesn't have to be big. It can be something pretty mild, but just get in the habit of pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, because the more that you do that, the more comfortable that you'll become doing it. It'll get easier and easier for you every time. So those are your 3 tips to pack your bags and move out of the state of fear. Now, I want to know what you're going to do this month that you're afraid of. So make sure that you write it in the comments below. And if you found this video helpful, be sure to like it and be sure to share it. Sharing is caring. So until next time, have a great week on purpose. Bye-bye.